Bounce back loans. Is it possible to become personally liable for a bounce back loan? That's what I want to look at in this video. If you're new to this channel, then please consider subscribing. You'll be very welcome. And if you want to press that like button, it really helps me. Bounce back loans. Can you be personally liable? Now, my favourite stat at the moment is that 1 million bounce back loans have been taken out, and the average value of one of those loans is £30,000. So there's £30 billion of bounce back loans out there already. And that's way before the deadline of the 4th of November. Who knows how many will have been taken out in the full extent of it. And it's not surprising that so many people have taken bounce back loans, because they're great. They're really good for businesses. They're really helping a lot of businesses move forward from the problems that we've got now to the future that they see. And they're good because you can take up to £50,000 or 25% of your turnover. There's no security, and there's no guarantees by the directors. And that means that they can be done really quickly. So very often they're done within 1 working day, and they take just a few minutes to apply for. But that doesn't get us away from whether you can be personally liable. So first, for sole traders and for normal partnerships, then you're always personally liable for the debts of that business. And the business is definitely liable for the bounce back loans. So in that sense, you are personally liable for the bounce back loans if you're a sole trader in a partnership. However, what they have said very clearly and repeatedly actually, is that they won't take your house away. So they won't force the debt by taking your house, and they won't force the debt by taking your principal car. So that bit it's partial personal liability. So then let's go on to a limited company. Now, a limited company or a limited liability partnership, the directors and the shareholders are not normally liable for the debts of the business, and it's the business that is that holds a liability for the bounce back loan. The bounce back loan has to be repaid by the business, and they can enforce that. However, are there any circumstances where the shareholders or the directors can then become liable? And I think there are. I think there are a couple of situations. So firstly, let's look at the situation where a bounce back loan has been taken out, and then the director shareholders immediately take the money out of the company and taking it privately. So let's just think about the balance sheet. I always like to look at the balance sheet of the company. And what's happened there is they've got a liability for the bounce back loan, and they're going to have a debtor. They're going to have a debtor because the director shareholder is going to owe them the money, owe the company the money to pay it back. So they've taken the money out, they'll owe it back unless a dividend goes through to clear that through. So therefore we've got a situation where there's a creditor that needs to be paid off, the bounce back loan, and then there's also a debtor that they can recover from the director or the shareholder. Now, if the company then gets into trading difficulties and can't pay its creditors, it'll go insolvent. And in that case, if that debtor is still outstanding, if the shareholder still hasn't paid back the company, he is liable or she is liable for that money. So in that circumstance, then the director is personally liable for the loan indirectly, but then definitely liable. And that can happen in a slightly different circumstance where the director has been using the bounce back loan to support his own income but hasn't been able to declare the dividends. So there are a couple of situations where the overdrawn or director's loan account creates a situation where you become personally liable through the company to you through the debtor that's been created. But there is a slightly worse circumstance that I can think of as well, because as I say, there have been 1 million of these loans taken out. And I just wonder, I mean, not people I know, but I just wonder if all of those have been filled in honestly, with 1 million forms being completed. I just wonder if some of those boxes were completed honestly. I wonder if people have taken out more than one bounce back loans because nobody's really checking. It's all self-certified. And that is the beauty of it, because the money comes so quickly because nobody's really checking anything. So the strength of the system is sometimes perhaps its weakness as well. So what do I mean here? I mean that if somebody's lied on the form when they filled it in, nothing bad happens immediately. They just get the money straight away. But lying on a form to get money is, by my reckoning, fraud. And if you commit fraud, there are repercussions. It's a crime. And generally, in English law, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a specialist in this subject, but generally, if you've committed a crime to get money, then that money will have to be repaid. And I think in those circumstances, the director shareholders has done that, or needs to be careful that they're not personally liable. And also, if you're a sole trader and you've committed fraud to get the money, then I think that they will look twice about reserving the right to look on your house or your car. And I think they'll particularly look badly on it if, I just feel that it's likely that some of those bounce back loans will have been used to buy buy-to-lets, to buy a new car, I don't know, to buy a Rolex, whatever. And I think if that is found to be the case, then the authorities, if they work it out, there is 1 million, so they will be stretched. If they work it out, I think that it's quite likely that they'll really go to town on it and really enforce the debt. And I guess my concern in this is that I think there's just a bit of a gung-ho attitude to these loans because they're so easy to get. I think there's a sort of, my mate down the pub's got 3 of these loans and he's used it to buy 6 buy-to-lets and he's going to be set up to life. I just think there's a bit of gung-ho mentality about the bounce back loans. My concern is that, there's a sort of, my mate down the pub sort of has got 5 bounce back loans and has bought half a dozen buy-to-let properties with it, and he's going to be set up for life. And because there's no immediate repercussions and there's no immediate sanctions, I just worry if that mentality is going through. And my concern is that some people will be caught out later on, and the law will be enforced at that stage because the government will be looking to claw back them. So this is my video on bounce back loans and how it is possible for them to be personally liable. So we just need to be careful about them. Thank you for watching. You'll be very welcome if you subscribe to the channel, and if you press the like button, it just really helps me. Thank you.